Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Mokono Man with another model video. Today, building, reviewing, snap fitting and painting the Moby-Dick from Bandai, depicted in the anime shortly, One Piece, manga as well. This was a very interesting offering put out by Bandai, non-scale, almost very toy-like, colourful ABS parts that just snap straight out of the runner. Lots of foil and shiny stickers. Low parts count, not really many small parts, and a fairly streamlined 3D modelled colourful instructions. Definitely designed for young children who would have the capacity to build a project that would take more than an hour or so. A quick, simple, toolless build would be under 20 minutes. It's amusing that it has an opportunity to be a waterliner with water effect and a full ship hull with stand. The biggest aspect that irritated me was no open eyelets on the sails. This was all tediously drilled out and cut with a knife. Now, this is where the project killed me. I utterly abandoned it and put it aside for almost a decade as I didn't feel I was completely up to finishing it. And why would it be, being a children's toy? And looking at the parts, I've come a long way as a modeler. I used acrylics, a lot of that paint is scratching off. Airbrush gradient splattering work shows I was airbrushing with too thick of a paint, and again also in acrylic, and the hand painting a bit sloppy. My intent was to discard the stickers and take a full-scale modeller's approach to this project with full rigging and treating it more like a ship model than a toy, even giving intricate colours to match the source material. Luckily, with all the different angles and sights, the instructions and colour guide gave me every possible view where I need to paint each panel and window. Bandai probably expected that scale modelers would have a crack at these models and engraved a lot of the detail where the stickers would otherwise have covered, allowing ample opportunity for hand painting or airbrushing. A lot of those wood panels can be picked up with washes and weathering techniques, and weathering is the name game. The first step was to sort out all the parts and start painting the sails, and outdoing the ugly job I did with a pretty cringeworthy black undercoat scratching through. 3-tone gradient shade from desert yellow buff to an off-white. I'm really grateful for the eyelets to be cut out, as painting the banner bars really pops it as a sailing tall ship. The source material is from a long-running shonen anime series, or designed cheaply and a budget for young adults, kids to enjoy on a Saturday morning. As each episode is being pushed every week, it can be done on a budget and a lot of corners cut in colouring, drawing, detail. So a lot of imagination and artist interpretation can go in creating fan art for the genre, or taking your own liberties. Pirates are rustic, they're out to sea for many months, years. The Grand Line is known for being quite rough. Pirates are not known for maintenance or beauty, or particularly these ones, so damage and weathering, it does need to be shown in the characteristic of the pirate crew and the ship. No one, even in the anime world, is going to be bleaching and cleaning giant 5-10 meter sheets unless they have a magic devil fruit to do that. It's going to be stained in shades of brown to light grey. I do happen to be a long-term viewer and fan of the One Piece series, and fairly fond of the Whitebeard pirates and the big part they've taken in the story. What I did have to rattle my head over night after night looking at this project is the order of painting, assembling and rigging. A lot of this pops together very well, and it's beautifully designed in a lot of seams are just well hidden in detail, and where it snaps together for colour separation, and a lot of effort even with the stickers to make it look as good as humanly possible, but there's just far too much detail, and painting it all is an absolute treat. Where it interconnects, and a lot of the locking mechanisms make sure the right part goes in the right section, like the masks and the sail. My early attempt clearly didn't have a game plan, but now I've managed my time by painting all the components first that I could reach, airbrushing parts that were covering a large surface and shading, and then hand painting everything according to what reference pictures or sections of the instructions gave me a hint of being the correct colour. After a fair shot of time this has concluded, I drilled holes in the masts and sails for the rigging and put a very fine wire through them, gluing them into place. Bit by bit a mast would be glued in, then would attach the sail and superglue the end of the rigging to give it that more tall ship look. I didn't overdo the rigging by even doing the ladders and extra supports, but just enough so these curled sails didn't look like they stopped mid-air. It was effective enough, maybe not the straightest or the highest attention. Each of the parts were glued together with PVA glue to keep them together permanently and not to muck up the paint finish. Many sections required an awful lot of painting, meant plenty of portholes, windows, cannons, all of it need to be neatly picked out with a brush and paint. A lot of colours to go through. Some parts I did regret not masking or airbrushing with masking tape, but just how long do you really want to tend to a project fairly small as such. I was also disturbed by the black ladders going up the masks. This was picked out with a grey to white wash to seem see-through, which I originally wanted it to be cables, but that'd be near impossible or super time consuming. Each of the components clicked together fairly easily and set in glue. It started to look a little more interesting to the eye in everything naturally flowing from the direction of the wind catching the sails to the direction of the ropes and ladder work. All of that painting and detailing was rewarded once a sludge wash was taken using Tamiya accent colour. It was furtherly thinned down with enamel thinner to flow through everything with little cleanup required, and a coat of flat clear to dull it all up into a finished model. Clear water effect is beautifully textured and sculpting. It would be a shame not to play with it, so I dry brushed some sea foam and added a flocking agent with PVA glue and a very heavy dose of gloss clear airbrushed on. Dividing each major task into many small jobs, focusing one element at a time, I managed to finish the Moby-Dick from One Piece, a non-scaled Bandai model, to a fairly half-decent standard that I can be pleased with as a quickish project, and a model that I've abandoned for quite a long time, sitting in the backlog of shame. It is fairly embarrassing this model has put me off this long, but with just a little bit extra work and definitely with the rigging, I'm very pleased with the outcome and glad that it's finished now to show off the detail and painting. Had a fair amount of fun though. There was multiple times that this was tedious and didn't quite want to continue on with. I've also got a few of these models sitting in the backlog, some of them actually Bandai retail samples or pre-production runs, which would be cool to get into. But the four major factors to make these ships really pop out is extra sea foam on the clear bit, cutting out the eyelets on the sails, the hand painting, and a black sludge wash to bring everything together. I don't think the rigging really was that important, but I was really adamant in having a crack at it. As the One Piece anime and manga picks up and drops off, these do get offered via the same hobby shops that carry anime goods and Gundam models. I've seen a rush of them hit the hobby shops again, and also notice if you want to have some water slide decals for markings on the sails or the flags, I've seen eBay put out some Chinese water slide offerings to swap them out. I would recommend these Grand Line ships to anybody that wants to have a go. It's completely up to you how much effort and time you do wish to invest, but this can clearly and easily be an absolute time sink, and it depends on what aspects you try, if it's rewarding or not. However, snapping it together and putting the minimal stickers on still nets a fairly decent toy look. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, until next time, stay tuned for further content. Happy to answer any questions. Check out the description section for social media links and reference material for this build. We'll catch you guys later. See you later.